Repainting your canvas, the art of mental freedom. Welcome to an extraordinary journey of self-discovery and transformation. I'm thrilled to share with you today the profound insights I've gained from my recent conversation with the remarkable Cheryl Monroe. Cheryl is not just a life coach or a motivational speaker, she's a visionary who's reshaping how we think about mental and emotional freedom, especially for women of color. Her approach is a unique blend of grace, empowerment, and wisdom, reminiscent of icons like Felicia Rashad, Michelle Obama, and Maya Angelou. Cheryl's work is nothing short of revolutionary in its potential to change lives and, by extension, change the world. Imagine, if you will, that your life is a canvas. Now take a moment to really visualize that canvas. What do you see? Is it vibrant and full of possibility, or has it become muted, overshadowed by doubts, fears, and the weight of expectations? Whatever you see, I want you to hold on to that image, because today we're going to talk about how to repaint that canvas, your canvas, with colors of your choosing. But before we dive in, let me ask you this. Have you ever felt trapped by your own thoughts, boxed in by fears and overwhelm? What if I told you that the key to breaking free is already within you, waiting to be unlocked? This is where Cheryl Monroe's work becomes truly transformative. She doesn't just offer platitudes or quick fixes. Instead, she provides a framework for fundamental change, a way to shift the very foundation of how we perceive ourselves and the world around us. And it all starts with a simple yet powerful concept: repainting your canvas. Now, you might be thinking, that sounds nice, but how does it actually work in real life? Well, let me share a story with you. Sarah, a brilliant software engineer, came to Cheryl feeling stuck and unfulfilled. On paper, Sarah had it all: a high-paying job, a beautiful home, a loving family. But inside, she felt like an imposter, constantly second-guessing herself and afraid to speak up in meetings. Her canvas, as she described it, felt like a dull gray with flashes of vibrant color peeking through but never fully emerging. Cheryl introduced Sarah to the concept of the Dear Me quote. It's a daily practice of giving yourself permission to act, to speak, to be. Sarah started each day by writing a short message to herself. At first, it felt awkward, even a bit silly. But as the days went by, something began to shift. One morning, Sarah wrote, "Dear me, today you have permission to share your ideas in the team meeting. Your voice matters." That simple act of self-affirmation gave Sarah the courage to speak up and propose a solution to a problem that had been plaguing her team for weeks. Her idea was not only well received, but implemented, leading to a significant improvement in their project. This small victory led to bigger ones. Sarah began to see herself differently. She started taking on more challenging projects, mentoring junior developers, and even speaking at industry conferences. Her canvas, once a dull gray, was now bursting with vibrant blues of confidence, deep purples of ambition, and bright yellows of joy. Sarah's story is just one example of the transformative power of Cheryl's approach. But it's not just about career success, it's about fundamentally changing how we view ourselves and our place in the world. Let's talk about overthinking for a moment. It's a common issue, but for many women of color, it can be particularly debilitating. Society often places additional pressures and expectations on us, leading to a constant internal dialogue of doubt and second guessing. Consider Maria, a talented artist who dreamed of opening her own gallery. But every time she came close to taking the leap, her mind would flood with what ifs. What if no one comes to the opening? What if critics don't like my work? What if I can't make ends meet? Cheryl worked with Maria to recognize these thought patterns for what they were. Not facts, but fears. They practiced interrupting these mental loops with questions like, is this thought helping or hurting me? And what evidence do I have that supports or contradicts this fear? Slowly but surely, Maria began to see her overthinking not as an insurmountable obstacle, but as a habit that could be changed. She started small, making decisions about her art without agonizing over every detail. As her confidence grew, so did her ability to take bigger risks. 6 months after working with Cheryl, Maria signed the lease on her gallery space. Was she still nervous? Absolutely. But now she had the tools to manage those nerves, to see them as a sign of excitement rather than a reason to retreat. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, that's great for Sarah and Maria, but my life is different. I have so many responsibilities. I don't have time for all this self-reflection and affirmation stuff. And that's where Cheryl's concept of mindful balance comes in. In a world that often glorifies hustle culture and constant productivity, Cheryl reminds us of the revolutionary act of rest. It's not just about taking a break, it's about intentionally creating space for reflection, for joy, for simply being. Let me introduce you to Amara, a single mother of two who was also caring for her elderly parents while running her own business. Amara came to Cheryl feeling burned out, resentful, and guilty for feeling resentful. Her canvas, as she described it, felt like a chaotic mess of dark, angry colors. Cheryl introduced Amara to the practice of mindful balance. They started small, with Amara committing to just 5 minutes a day of uninterrupted time for herself. At first, Amara felt guilty even for those 5 minutes. But as she continued the practice, she began to notice changes. Those 5 minutes became a refuge, a time when she could check in with herself, acknowledge her feelings without judgment, and set intentions for the day. Gradually, Amara expanded this time, learning to delegate tasks at work and home and setting boundaries around her time and energy. The result? Amara found herself more patient with her children, more present with her parents, and more creative in her business. Her relationships improved, and she even found time to rekindle her long-forgotten passion for painting. Her canvas, once a chaotic mess, was transforming into a beautiful, harmonious composition. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This all sounds great in theory, but how do I actually implement these ideas in my daily life? Well, I'm glad you asked because Cheryl has some practical strategies that I find incredibly powerful. First, start each day with a moment of intentional silence. Before you check your phone or start your to-do list, take a few minutes to center yourself. This could be through meditation, prayer, or simply sitting quietly and setting your intentions for the day. This small act can set the tone for everything that follows. Next, keep a journal specifically for your Dear Me quotes. Each day, write a short message to yourself. It could be words of encouragement, a reminder of your strengths, or permission to pursue a goal. The key is to make it personal and meaningful to you. Throughout the day, practice mindful pauses. These are brief moments where you step back from whatever you're doing and check in with yourself. How are you feeling? What do you need right now? This practice helps prevent the buildup of stress and overwhelm, allowing you to course correct before you reach a breaking point. Another powerful tool is the use of affirmations. But these aren't generic, one-size-fits-all statements. Create affirmations that speak directly to your experiences and challenges. For example, if you often feel overlooked in professional settings, your affirmation might be, "My voice is valuable and I deserve to be heard." Repeat these affirmations regularly, especially in moments when you feel self-doubt creeping in. Now, let's talk about celebrating small wins. In our conversation, Cheryl pointed out how often we overlook our daily accomplishments, focusing instead on what we haven't done. By consciously acknowledging and celebrating even minor achievements, we build a sense of progress and momentum that can carry us through tougher times. Take Jasmine, for example. Jasmine was a high-achieving executive who always felt like she wasn't doing enough. No matter how much she accomplished, she was always focused on the next goal, the next challenge. This constant striving was leaving her exhausted and unfulfilled. Cheryl encouraged Jasmine to start a win jar. Every day, Jasmine would write down one thing she accomplished or was proud of, no matter how small, and put it in the jar. At first, Jasmine struggled to find things to write, not because she wasn't accomplishing anything, but because she had trained herself to overlook her achievements. But as the days went by, Jasmine began to notice more and more wins, finishing a report ahead of schedule, having a difficult but necessary conversation with a team member, taking a full lunch break to recharge. Each of these went into the jar. At the end of each month, Jasmine would read through her wins. The impact was profound. She began to see patterns in her accomplishments, areas where she consistently excelled. She became more confident in her abilities and more appreciative of her efforts. Her sense of self-worth was no longer tied solely to big, visible achievements, but to the daily actions that made those achievements possible. Now, I want to touch on an aspect of Cheryl's approach that I find particularly powerful, the focus on community. While much of the work of repainting our canvas is internal, Cheryl recognizes the power of connection and support. She encourages creating or joining circles of like-minded women who can share experiences, offer encouragement, and hold each other accountable. This community aspect is particularly important for women of color. In spaces where we might feel isolated or misunderstood, having a group of women who share similar experiences can be incredibly empowering. It's a reminder that we're not alone in our struggles and that our experiences are valid and worthy of attention. Let me tell you about the transformation I witnessed in a group of women who came together under Cheryl's guidance. They were from different backgrounds, a teacher, a nurse, an entrepreneur, a stay-at-home mom, but they all shared the experience of feeling unseen and unheard in various aspects of their lives. They started meeting monthly, sharing their challenges and victories, their fears and dreams. At first, the conversations were tentative, each woman afraid of being judged or misunderstood. But as they continued to meet, something beautiful began to happen. They started to see themselves reflected in each other's stories. They celebrated each other's wins, no matter how small. They offered support and encouragement when one of them was struggling. They challenged each other to dream bigger, to take risks, to believe in themselves. Over time, these women became each other's cheerleaders, confidants, and truth tellers. They held each other accountable to their goals and reminded each other of their worth when self-doubt crept in. The impact of this community extended far beyond their monthly meetings. It gave them the courage to speak up at work, to set boundaries in their personal lives, to pursue long-held dreams. One woman, inspired by the group's support, finally launched the nonprofit she had been dreaming about for years. Another found the courage to leave a toxic relationship. Yet another went back to school to pursue a degree she had put off for decades. This is the power of community. It's not just about having a support system, although that's incredibly valuable. It's about creating a space where we can see ourselves clearly, where our experiences are validated, and where we're encouraged to grow and thrive. Now, I want to circle back to the powerful metaphor at the heart of Cheryl's work, repainting your canvas. This image is so potent because it acknowledges both our agency and our artistry in shaping our lives. We are not blank slates. We all come with experiences, some painful, some joyful, that have left their mark. But we have the power to add new colors, to change the composition, to create something beautiful from whatever we've been given. Repainting your canvas is not a one-time event. It's a daily practice, a commitment to ongoing growth and self-discovery. Some days you might make bold, sweeping strokes. Other days it might be tiny, almost imperceptible touches. But each day you have the opportunity to add to your masterpiece. Think about the canvas of your life right now. What colors dominate? What shapes and patterns do you see? Now imagine what you want that canvas to look like. What colors would you add? What parts would you highlight or reshape? This is not about erasing your past or denying your challenges. It's about recognizing that you have the power to interpret your experiences, to choose what they mean, and to decide how they will shape your future. It's about realizing that every day, every moment, you have the chance to add a new stroke to your canvas. So, as we near the end of our time together, I want to share a personal reflection. When I first encountered Cheryl's work, I was skeptical. I thought, how can something so seemingly simple, affirmations, mindful pauses, celebrating small wins, really make a significant difference? But as I've incorporated these practices into my own life, as I've witnessed the transformations in the lives of women like Sarah, Maria, Amara, and Jasmine, I've come to understand the profound power of these tools. What Cheryl offers is not a quick fix or a magic solution. It's a way of living, a way of engaging with ourselves and the world around us. It's about reclaiming our power, our voice, our right to define ourselves and our lives on our own terms. This work is especially crucial for women of color. We often navigate spaces where our worth is questioned, where our voices are silenced, where our experiences are invalidated. Cheryl's approach gives us the tools to stand firm in our value, to speak our truth, to honor our experiences, and to create lives that reflect our deepest desires and highest potential. So, as we conclude, I want to leave you with a challenge. For the next week, Commit to one small act of repainting your canvas each day. Write a Dear Me quote, giving yourself permission to pursue a dream. Take a mindful pause in the middle of your workday to check in with yourself. Celebrate a small win, no matter how insignificant it might seem. Notice how these small actions begin to shift your perspective and your energy. Remember, this journey is yours. Your canvas is unique, and the way you choose to repaint it will be uniquely yours as well. Embrace that individuality. Celebrate your journey. Trust in your ability to create a masterpiece that is authentically, beautifully you. You have everything you need within you to create a life of mental and emotional freedom. You have the power to break free from limiting thoughts and beliefs. You have the right to define success on your own terms. You have the ability to create a life filled with purpose, joy, and fulfillment. So pick up your brush, choose your colors, and start repainting your canvas. The masterpiece of your life is waiting to be created, and you, my friend, are the artist. Thank you.